Are you ready to clear toxic shame from your feminine gateway? This is so exciting. So we're going to do a little micro, like a journey, almost like we're here in a sacred temple or having a workshop together. This intends, and I do have some notes because I really want to put together a transformational experience in this video for you if you've been held back in your love life because of toxic shame. If you have body shame that's been holding you back from feeling amazing like a goddess of love. If you have job opportunities and you haven't accessed them because you have this sludge that maybe even in your lineage. Other things that can happen are you might have health issues going on because shame is stagnation. And when it gets stuck in our bodies, in our emotions, in our meridians, stuck energy is putrefaction, it is stagnation, it is death. And if we're not moving and flowing, then we're dying. So in this space today, we're going to create a journey where you can unfurl your wings, where you can actually clear your feminine channels, where you can at least get a start to that, to release old shame and identify, most importantly, identify where it's been coming from and getting a strategy so you can move forward from shame into shining and shimmering so that you're not playing small, because right now the planet needs you. You are a light being, a light worker, a beacon of divine love. And if we are playing small, we're dimming our light. Like, why did we even come to this planet all the way from where we came from in the heavens or from whatever cosmic portal you're from? Why be here just to live in the prison system? Instead, stepping into the prism system. So let's first talk about the effects of shame. And I call it shame blueprinting because shame does come in at a very early age 0 to 7. It sticks in our systems, in our fields, our bodies, and it leads to those negative, toxic relationship decisions. It leads to us playing small, accepting salaries that are too small, or undercharging, or not taking amazing care of our bodies. We make these decisions subconsciously from shame, and around 96% of our lived experience is in the subconscious world, maybe even less than that. So when we do this work on our shame, it connects to our shadow, and when we bring it to the light, we have so much more power to move through. So we're going to go through the effects of shame blueprinting. I'm going to help you define or understand, play with the definition of what is toxic shame. Therefore, I'm going to also talk about what is healthy shame, because there is healthy shame. And then we're going to do some some shame blueprint healing from a place of love. And I'm going to talk about how to establish healthy relationships when it comes to shame, how to have the healthy shame energies versus the toxic shame energies or blueprinting. And I'll give you a little bit of a taste of a healing session. I'll give you a taste of energetic, emotional, and even somatic work that you continue to do on yourself daily or you can play with. So we're going to help you get started today. First, I wanted to share, I'm Dr. Amanda Noelle. I'm a transpersonal counselor, a doctor of love. I have my PhD in transpersonal counseling. I'm a certified life coach, and I've helped women from over 30,000 countries around the world to manifest their dream life partnership. Not a lot of people say it's easy. I will be honest, there's a lot of internal alchemy, but with that led into gold, we get more ease at each phase. And the beautiful thing is that even though when we work on ourselves, it's not always easy, there is an easeful lightness that comes from it, and there's a reclamation of coming home. So I used to call myself a twin flame alchemist, and that whole market became obscured and darkened, and people don't understand. But really, my main teaching and principle is love, healing through love. I've healed myself from disease, 5-year-long disease, simply by connecting into deep love, and it was healed in an instant. So we're bringing in the energy of love. So let's just call in, maybe rub your hands together, and just remember you are divine love that has gone through a little bit of amnesia, a little bit of trauma, a little bit of fear, a little bit of illusion of separation from source, and just give yourself some love balls. You can always do this psychically, connecting into a healing color or frequency. Just imagine love balling yourself, giving yourself some self-love. If you want to just throughout this little micro workshop, just, give yourself anything that you need. Maybe it's a drink of water, if it's some shaking, some movement. This is your sacred temple and your time. So let's talk about the effects of shame blueprinting. So ultimately, we have our divine essence. Imagine you as a light being. And when we have shame, shame is like a blockage. And that blockage becomes a dark cloud in our auric field, and our angelic light no longer gets to go out. And also then we have this rip or tear or blockage, obstruction in our auric field. And that can manifest as dis-ease, like I said. That can manifest as money blocks. That can manifest as emotional blockages where we might erupt on a partner, or where we are on a date and we're getting to know a potential beloved or our marital partner after many years. And there's like this opportunity to lean in and move forward, but we have this emotional cloud of energy and we become reactive. We go into old negative patterns. So the shame, the shadow, the darkness in us, it's part of why we came here as humans, to decode, to unpack and heal. You didn't come here for an easy ride. If you did, sorry, you're in the wrong classroom. Earth is not the playful, blissful, easy, magical kindergarten place. It is a PhD level. It is not always easy. And we can create those blissful, magical experiences. We can live in our heaven on earth, but probably not 24/7. If you're here, you know what I mean. It takes some work. So, toxic shame blueprinting is an opportunity for us to rediscover our sovereignty. It's an opportunity for healer, heal thyself. And as you heal, you're doing your part and you're healing the planet. You are healing your lineage. You are probably in a relationship with someone with shame. Someone's looking at you. Maybe it's at the grocery store and you're feeling like, this blockage in your body, or you're with a coworker and something comes up and you feel this like blockage in your throat, like you can't speak. There's something wrong with you. When you decode that and unpack that in yourself, your relationship with that divine mirror is also healing, and you are in their subconscious unraveling a conversation with them, whether you talk about it or not. So healer, heal thyself is healing that person, the way you're perceiving them, perceiving you. This whole dance that goes back and forth between two or more human beings creates a collective web of healing. So I want to give you so much encouragement and kudos for the deep work that you're doing right now on this planet. And instead of getting triggered by other people and pointing fingers, you've been doing amazing work. And I'm here to channel as well as teach. And a lot of the messages that come from my clients, from my friends and family and fans, it's a message for me as well. Like, great job for reversing triggers and putting them into what we call in the somatic healing world glimmers. Like, that's an old, that could be an old trauma, but instead I'm going to focus on like, wow, there's something really powerful here. Okay, so you get it. I think you get it. The effects of shame blueprinting are that we obscure our light, and you procrastinate writing that book. I know I've been doing that for years. I haven't written my book. Did get a lot of other cool things done, but maybe you you procrastinate on dating the most amazing matched person, and instead you're like, well, I want to have a little bit more fun, a little more playful time, or some cute dates. And then like many years go by, and the ones that you actually put your time and energy in were toxic relationships, where maybe the sensuality and the chemistry there was great, but actually they never had the full bandwidth for you. The relationship potential was never there, and you invested in something that really wasn't going to support you and therefore became toxic. Well, that is coming from the root origin of unhealed toxic shame. So let's talk about now what exactly is toxic shame. Well, healthy shame is like, there's nothing inherently wrong about shame. There's some benefits to shame. For example, if I have a 4-year-old child. If she is doing something dangerous, or we're running in the rice field and there's this big drop on the side, and I'm like, babe, you need to stop right now because it's slippery. And because she's not listening if I say it nicely. So stop right now. She might feel like, whoa, I did something wrong and mommy shamed me. So there is a healthy dose of shame. And that is absolutely a positive thing. And maybe in society we have some rules and things that happen just to keep things kind of safe. Like, hey, maybe don't put your naked body parts everywhere unless there's those rules. And so we have some shame going on. Although I met my husband and then we went to Burning Man and we took a public shower naked because that's all that the opportunity there was to get clean in the desert at Burning Man, this art festival. Anyways, but society has rules, and there might be some inherent shame that comes up to keep everyone feeling safe, because we don't necessarily want people that are not safe people, the assaulters and dark people. So like we have to sometimes say shame is what it is. It happens, but here's the key thing. The difference between toxic and healthy shame is like overall there's a benefit to it. Overall, when it happens, then you can repair the negativity, rupture and repair. So if I've screamed at my daughter, stop, don't, you're near the edge, be careful. And she's like, gosh, you freaked me out. Well, I come over to her and I say, look, sweetie, you really scared me. And I'm sorry if my yelling scared you. I want you to know that there's a big drop here and it is not safe for you to run. So if you don't listen to me, then mommy gets really worried, and that's why I scream. That's why you might get triggered. My daughter has a big vocabulary now around these types of things. So talk to your inner 4-year-old or to your 4-year-old as desired. But the thing is, every parent-child relationship, every romantic relationship, every type of relationship that's healthy is going to have some rupture and then repair. The idea is not to never rupture, to just keep our voices silent and be like, oh, she's running towards the cliff. Sweetie pie, ow, don't do that, come here. No, we need to use our voices. We need to even have our reptilian brains active so that we keep safe. There is a gift in the shadow. There is a gift in the darkness. And then we want to then come back into the balance with light. So if we veer left, if we veer masculine, we want to veer right, we want to come back into that healthy, harmonious middle. So that's where we want to have the healthy repair. So what has happened to most of us, unfortunately, as when we were children, is that we had too much toxic shaming because of a pattern in the lineage where our parents did not have the communication tools that they didn't get from their parents, and there was so much trauma in the lineage generationally passed down, and the communication was not effective. There was more violence, there was more shaming tones, so that a parent would say, stop, get away from there. And by the way, we have to honor and love our parents and our grandparents. They might have overcome physically surviving slavery. They might have overcome being abused by a family member. You might have overcome this, and the trauma that's there brought in entities and darkness. And if you're really standing in love, you've got to not just discriminate and say, I'm only around people that are talking from love and light, and they don't shame me and they don't make me feel XYZ. People will trigger you. And if you're going to be ready to actually stand up as the flame of love and be conscious, it's really hard to accept this. I know I have struggles, but you will be triggered. And that's completely okay, because what's going to happen as you become a love warrior is the more you stand in your love, the more the triggers are going to come up, but the more you're going to anchor into yourself. And that's why this toxic shame healing work is so profound. It will root you into healing, into love, into who you are. And so when someone else is projecting their shame, you're not going to go into the story. You're going to be holding that space for love and see it what it is. Oh yeah, this person is yelling at me on the street right now. They probably have had a really rough day. Maybe they just lost their job. Maybe, they've been abused their whole life. That's not my stuff. And I'm going to just set a boundary and send them love. Same in your relationships. Same with your boss. If your boss is, maybe my boss has a lot of weight right now because their boss over them is there. I'm going to break this chain. So stand in that love. So healthy shame keeps us safe. Toxic shame is like this. Toxic shame is where if I were to yell at my daughter, which I do my best not to do, sometimes I have my moments because I do come from a toxic shame family, especially on my mother's side. My father's side was like, don't even talk at all. I asked my dad, what was your dad like? What was my grandpa like? I never got to meet him. And he said, my dad didn't talk to me. He was always gone. And when he came home, he was sleeping because he worked at a nightclub. He was in the mafia. And everything had to be very quiet for my dad to be safe. And, you know, we have to look at like these things in our families. Like our ancestors had to survive some really intense, scary times. And they had to hustle. And they did not have the enlightenment that maybe you came here to see. So let's just send our ancestors love. So toxic shame looks like this. I scream at my kid because I don't want her to fall off that cliff, and I don't know how to do this key thing. This is the key thing to avoiding toxic shame. When you communicate with your loved ones, which hopefully is everyone in the world, you're not shaming them. You are saying this situation is a shame. This is a shame that it's like this, but it's like this, and I'm going to call it out. So, wow, too bad that there's a big cliff here. Too bad that mommy got overwhelmed. I'm not shaming you for being a bad human. No, never do that. I'm never doing that. Instead, I am shaming the situation. Oh my gosh, you almost fell, which would be not safe, and you keep validating the repair. I love you. I care about you. I want you to be safe. I want to feel that you're safe. This situation isn't okay. This situation isn't okay. So do you see the difference between this situation isn't okay? It's not okay with me that you yelled at me. It's not okay with me that there's yelling around me. It's not okay with my body, my well-being. So when you say something in a loud voice, it's just not good for my nervous system. That situation is just not cool. I love you. I care about you. You're my partner. You're my beloved. We're dating. I love connecting with you. And the screaming isn't working for me. So I want to really address that with you. So if you are going to embody the full flame codes, the love frequency, we've got to be able to move mountains, right? We got to say that's not okay. This governmental situation isn't okay. The world state isn't okay. And it's that state. It's that, yes, there are people causing this. There are reasons for it. And we can identify the reasons. And we're not reflecting shame back. Like, F you, separation. You are not part of my universe. You are not God. That's like the biggest creator of shame is identifying you are not God. Instead, we can say, this situation and how I am experiencing it is not contributing to my God self. How does that land in your body? If you're to say, so let's just play with this. Let's drop into a little micro exercise. Pick something that keeps repeating in your life that's bringing up your shame. Maybe it's your partner is doing something like they're leaving the dishes out and you're constantly getting in arguments about it. Or maybe you have a kid and you're something like I shared, you're yelling at them. Or maybe at work you want to talk to your superior at work, but you're too ashamed. And so pick a circumstance. And then let's focus on this concept of no one is wrong. No one is not God. No one is not potential vessel of love and light. And the situation needs to change. It's time. We're ready. We're change makers. So I want you to start with the negative, the shame, the toxic shame version, and just go into, say it's with your partner. Stop leaving the dishes on the sink. You are a messy mother effer, whatever. Maybe that comes in. So let's just play with, say the story out loud. Just say, you are always so messy. And I want you to do something with me, which is to use a body language. This is somatic healing. So maybe it's like, or maybe if you're with the coworker or your inferior, you are at work with your superior and you're always like, I want to tell you this, but I don't have some kind of body movement. So just play with it. So I'm going to go with you never clean this up. You are messy. So notice how that feels in your body, and maybe even notice, do you have any health symptoms or tightness that might be parallel to this? Like maybe you're constantly angry at your partner and you also have this tension in your neck and you're just like, "Argh." So just laugh at that, move some breath into it. Now I'm going to invite you to move into the positive, the healthy shame. So healthy shame could be like, I'm ready to release the dishes around the sink. Like, this isn't okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. So do some kind of like how it would feel good to express to your partner, this is no longer okay with me. Or with your mother-in-law or your wife or whatever it is. This is not okay. So ideally it feels good in your body and it's a new movement. In somatics, if you are identifying something that is coming from a subconscious block, and then you shift it into the energy that is working, that's something intentional and conscious, you have this micro healing, the shift. So I encourage you to play with your positive movement. This is not okay with me, and what I'd like instead is for you to clean the dishes every night at 8 o'clock. I'd like you to understand that it's not okay for me to live in a messy house and it stresses me out. We can have conversations in calm about this. All right, so key theme is rupture and repair is a natural part of human relationships. It's the way to get stronger. It's like muscles, right? If you're going to go to the gym, you don't just lay there and do nothing. No, to build a relationship, you got to break the muscle down, and then you give some time to heal. Maybe you get in a little micro conflict, a micro argument, maybe even a big one, but then you come back together, you hug, you dialogue, you heal. So that's where healthy shame can lead us. It's the toxic shame when we project, right? This is all bad, you are bad, and that's usually we're both coming from trauma bonds. So let's see. The key here is co-regulation. Co-regulation is where we all need this. Babies, we come from co-regulation. We are mammalian. We come from in the womb. Then we get the boob, hopefully. And we have a lot of nurturing from our mothers. And then in life, we're always looking for that healthy connection, bonding. And co-regulation soothes our nervous systems. And if we're constantly in a pattern of toxic shame, like maybe we had when we were children, maybe our parents didn't know how to communicate lovingly. Maybe they were, clean up this mess. You're naughty. You're bad. You. So this might still be running in your subconscious mind. I know for me, it has. I had an abusive teacher. I had one parent that her whole lineage had a lot of physical abuse, a lot of verbal violence, and that energetic and sometimes the verbal abuse came into my field. And so I didn't feel safe to relax. So my nervous system was constantly like, if I mess up, I'm going to make you mad. And then there would be this horrible toxic shame pattern that I had to work through with my partner, with counselors, and with myself. So it's not about never rupturing. It's about rupturing and repairing. We need that co-regulation. Okay, now I wanted to share a little bit about what I'm doing right now. So if you're resonating with my work, everything has really shifted in the last year after I created a video on a particular topic where I did share some conspiracy theory stuff. It is Snopes worthy, where people like, you can confirm it on Snopes, but I brought something up, and after that, my channel went into toxic shame, and suddenly my channel was censored. And I've been thinking about this lately, and people have been saying, yeah, Amanda, your videos no longer pop up. So I was like, wow, this is such an opportunity for me to get to know y'all better and to dive deeper in this work. And yeah, on the outside, it's like, I don't know how I'm gonna, I had a thriving multiple six-figure business, love what I was doing with clients. And then from one year to the next, my channels were cut down to almost nothing. And what I'm seeing is, well, this is an opportunity to go from the rupture into repair, from negativity into opportunity. And so I'm making this heart-to-heart offer, which is I want to get to know those of you who are doing this work really deeply in an intimate space. And for some reason, it just really called me to create a workshop. It's my anniversary in a few more days on March 3rd at 3:33 p.m. My husband and I got married and kissed 6 years ago. So excited to celebrate. And I was getting to teach a small, intimate workshop to a handful of women around Xing their ex's energy. That's the name of the workshop, Xing your ex's energy. And it's to help you shift, well, of course, the DNA. That's the language I'm going to work with, like the energetics, the DNA. But what happens when we merge, especially intimately, physically, when we have a fluid exchange, that's like very, very extreme. But even sometimes if we just have a relationship, a bond, sometimes even people energetically don't even have to, like it can just be a crush, or it can be an intense spiritual, soulful connection. But especially if we've exchanged fluids, guys, you might have your 17-year-old first love experience in your blood, in your DNA, and women tell me it kind of haunts me. One story is a woman named Michelle, who she came together with a man. I think they were either married or they were living together, and they'd been together for a while, and then they split, but they never ended the soul contract, which was to have a baby. They had a soul contract. And because she moved on and she wasn't dating him anymore, years and years went by, but it was almost like she was still married to him. Her womb was like only for him. And so she was having a hard time having not only lovers, she had a hard time having intimacy and relationships. And definitely it was like she felt super blocked when it came to having a child, which is something she dearly wanted. So when we did the womb healing work, when we did the Xing your exes, when we cleared out karma with this one particular person, which for me, I do a combination of reading, energy healing, somatic healing, and emotional processing. So it's kind of all the layers. So when we let go of her ex and the contract that she still had to end with him, it was still written in stone in the Akashic records, we cleared it out. Then all of a sudden, she ended up starting to date different kinds of people. It was like a whole different renaissance for her. She felt sexy in this new way. And then she ended up manifesting a partner that she's with today, and they have their child, even though she was told that fertility would not be in her wheelhouse, in her field of possibility even. She ended up birthing a beautiful boy. So I want to extend this invitation to you if you are feeling a deep resonance with the work that I do. Not everybody does, and that's totally fine. I'm just doing the light work that feels really authentic to me. And if you have struggled with conception and you're with your beloved and you want to conceive, if you are struggling with finding a beloved, or if you have intimacy issues with your beloved, you're like, I really freaking adore them, and it's almost like every time we want to love make, it's like only happening once a week or once a month or once a year, This is very common in our society where married couples become roommates and they live under a roof, but they don't have that passion. Well, we're going to be undoing some of this toxic shame stuff. We're going to be clearing energetics from exes. We're not going to do every single ex you had. We're really going to focus on the top one and the blueprint behind it so that you can do the deeper healing work. It's happening on the 5th, so it's happening pretty soon. Message me. I'm going to put the link in the description, or you can look at Dr. Amanda Noelle on Instagram. So DM me on Instagram, and that's the way you get access to this free gift. And when you message me, tell me why you want to take this workshop, what your goals are, and I'll send you the information. If it feels like it's a fit, I'll send you the Zoom link. All right, let's go back into the shame blueprint healing. So we have to do a couple of things. One is to unpack the father and mother wounds, the teacher wounds, the education wounds, the early childhood blueprinting that makes us feel, and I want to say fill in the blank, unlovable, not enough, stupid, all the things that are shameful. So I'd like you to just grab a journal for a quick second and write down I was going to say, I work with a lot of feminine flow, so I'm like, shall we do it this way or that way? I'd like you to actually take just a moment to journal about how shame is holding you back in your life right now. So let's just set a timer for around 60 seconds, and you're going to just journal right now, or you can do it in your mind and dance it out a little bit, or just breathe in. What is holding me back in my life because of shame? How is shame holding me back in my life? Is it financial? Is it love? Is it everything? Is it your health? Is it your home situation? Are you suffering from clutter? Those are some ideas. Let's go. Ready, set, go. I'll make some music. Okay. Clearing my toxic shame around feeling like my voice isn't shareable, because I think we often have that blueprint. I had such a shutdown this chakra as a little girl, so this is helpful for me to sing and open with others' presence present. So now that you maybe have a list of things, or you have one thing to hone in on, I want you to circle. Where would you like to start? Like, if you could fix one area of your life, like, oh, my financial shame is no longer there, or my body shame, or my sexual shame, or my shame around my, maybe it's even something physical, like, you know, your back pain is manifested because of shame, and it stops you from going out and dancing and doing all the things. So circle that one thing. Now, the second thing I invite you to do is to focus on one key relationship in your life right now that is bringing up shame. And maybe you feel it's connected, maybe you don't, and that's fine. Maybe you're like, well, my biggest shame is around money, but gosh, I keep having this body shame in bed with my new lovers, and I just cannot take my clothes off without going like, ah! I've had this before, and it is not fun. Believe me, there is a connection. So I want you to write down maybe a couple of different things and then circle one. So what are the relationships? Talk about your mother. So just write down, I'm going to give you about 20 seconds. Could be high-end clients, somebody you don't even know yet, readers of your book. Okay, so I want to encourage you to validate yourself right now, making it in 33 minutes into this video. Just validate and love yourself for where you're at. You're in relationships that aren't always easy, right? It's not easy being human. And so this toxic shame has been holding you back in this area of your life. And right now you're having this struggle with this particular, maybe it's a person, maybe it's even the government. I don't know, I could have mentioned that. Just validate, like, it's okay, babe, you've got this. I know it's hard sometimes. You've got this. So I'm going to give you a couple of golden nuggets to help you to heal from the toxic shame. And it's to focus on healthy rupture and repair with this person. It is to focus on healthy co-regulation. So it's easy to go into the separation duality type of thing of like, you are bad, you trigger me, therefore I'm going to trigger you back, or I'm going to point the finger, or I'm going to run. Sometimes running away and being avoidant is going to trigger that person, and it's actually more painful for them than slapping them in the face. This was true for me. I would have probably preferred someone there for me slapping in the face than leaving, running, and moving on to another woman. So really feeling into, wow, whether it's with this person who's triggering me right now, I set the intention for healthy co-regulation and healthy rupture and repair. And feel into some ways that you might be able to do this. Let's just brainstorm here. I wish I could see your comments, and I can't wait for the workshop because we'll be able to dive in a lot deeper in an intimate space. I really have been craving that. I haven't been able to work for the last year since the algorithm knocked me off. And I've had like little moments, but I miss running workshops. I miss having a thriving business because I love what I do. I love seeing the transformations. And so thank you for being here and doing this work within yourself. It just feeds my soul, and I look forward to getting to know you personally, because relationships are my juice, my fuel, my gummy bear juice. I don't know if you guys watched that cartoon as a kid, but gummy berry juice makes you super strong. So how to heal the rupture and repair. I'm going to tell a story. So my husband and I, we had this classic pattern. When we got married, we were comfortable. So we stopped going to the premarital counselor. We just went into our business. And then a few years later, we had these family patterns, genetic patterns. Dad of his dad, my mother, like, whoa, we were just like them. And we were going into these weird patterns. And I was just like when I was a little kid in some ways, and he became just like his father. Long story short, Jack and I were getting into these blowout arguments, or I was going into a freeze state, shutting down. And he was like, where's my partner? Why are you just like this frozen dead person? And I was like, what are you talking about? I don't feel feelings. Like, I'm fine. Everything's fine. I want you to just listen to this. We don't know what we don't know when it comes to our trauma. We don't know what we don't know. So we need relationships. We need to find the both healthy regulation, the rupture and repair, and we also need to go into those red zones of toxic shame, trauma bonds, negative patterns. I laugh at the whole twin flame thing now, but at the beginning there was like, oh, you meet your twin flame and it's like totally a fairy tale, everything's great. And then everybody said, no, that's not true. Actually, your twin flame is like the devil. It's like, don't go for it. It's just drama and pain. And I would say that for me, a sacred union is both. You are mirroring each other's shit. You're mirroring each other's shift. You're mirroring each other's light. You're mirroring each other's shadow. Everything in between. There's a lot of mirroring, a lot of mirroring. And so with Jack and I, we decided that as relationship coaches, we probably should get some therapy, some counseling. So we hired a somatic relationship mentor who helped us identify where each of us was coming from. And it was like, okay, from my childhood, this was my experience, this was mine. That makes sense. It was also from a body level of like, when you do this, here's how I respond in my body. Thank you for understanding. That makes sense. I don't want you to feel that way. And vice versa. There were a lot of mirrors. When we go into that victim place, like I was like, why is Jack, getting so upset at me? I'm this nice wife and I'm trying to please him. And he was going into an experience of no one listens to me. No one in my family is listening. I feel helpless. I want to yell more because you can't hear me. And then I'm pulling away and shutting down and avoidant. And the pattern spiraled out until we got that help and support, and I could identify it. But we don't know what we don't know when it comes to trauma until we bring it to the light. And so I encourage you to get support. I encourage you to do things like the workshops, working with counselors, going to your church or minister or temple priestess. Let's hope we have more of those, because it brings light to that shadow and that shame, and it's uncomfortable to do that. So thank you for that work. So as we heal the ruptures and repairs, we start to get stronger. It's like we go to the gym, we start breaking down the muscle, and then we start to build more muscle, right? And so when our partner triggers us, they leave the dishes on the sink, or they run late, or whatever that thing is, we're not going into that child wound as much. There's a little bit, maybe, of an echo of the past, but we become so strong that we're like, that doesn't bother me as much. Or maybe you're an entrepreneur, and at the beginning, you were so terrified of having someone say, I want a refund, or you didn't do a good job, or this let me down, and you're spinning out But then as you have these rupture and repairs, you have the conversation, you can end things peacefully, or you can even just sit with yourself. Wow, that person really didn't like my product. I did a great job. I did the best I could. It wasn't a right fit for them. I choose to give them a refund, or hey, they had a no refund policy. Just going to sit with their bitterness for a moment, and then I'm going to send it away and just send it to the light. So if we don't face the pain, if we don't have the rupture and repair and we just avoid, which I know I have a lot of avoidant history because my inner child suffered from nervous system trauma, being screamed at by teachers, having some physical abuse from my older brother, and my finger cut off. So that's very, very painful experience. A lot of fear in my nervous system of if I speak up, I will hurt. And that's okay if we have those patterns. It's great that we can identify them. But I am so grateful for like going to the gym. Not that I go to the gym, I do actually yoga and embodied movement and dance and other things, because the gym just made me like a super tense mess. After many years of being a personal trainer and going to the gym, I realized that wasn't the best for my feminine energy. But the example is, if we don't break down the muscle, we can't grow it. If we don't have relationship, I don't want to say drama, but rupture and repairs, we can't learn to build our resilience. If we don't launch our business and have some uncomfortability, I like that word. I've heard people say, like, you don't have the ability to get uncomfortable unless you practice being uncomfortable. So let's get fun comfortable. I love playing with words. So co-regulation is key. Co-regulation, when you have the repair, you will be nourished. And a big problem out there is that we get triggered, we point a finger, you hurt me, I'm gonna run, and we never evolve because we never have safe relationships. Or we kind of halfway have safe relationships. I'm gonna travel and become a digital nomad and like hook up with people, and I'm gonna have like a week-long relationship or 3-month-long relationship, but I'm never gonna get really close, and I'm gonna pull away because I wanna avoid the drama. So we need to be able to go all the way in, at least for a little bit, and grow our resilience. We need to have our re-traumatizations so that we can heal them. What we don't want to do is overdo it. We don't want to burn out. I've done that so many times. Like, I mean, an example would be falling in love with someone without even having an idea of where the breaks were, not even wanting to, just like, let's get married, let's do this. And then they fully pulled out. In the most embarrassing situation, I was on a hospital bed. He was not showing up, and I was like, where are you? I love you. I'm professing my love to you. And he's like, I'm ditching you right now. And within a couple of months, he moved on to another woman. And for 5 years, I was like, I'm all in, come back. That's the power of the Darth Vader curse. I do feel like there's this scene in one of the Star Wars movies, maybe you know which one, but I do feel that there is sometimes we have trauma bonds can match with a dark matchmaker, like almost like the devil is matching us to someone that will just absolutely annihilate our light. And not absolutely, because we always have the ability to grow light. And I look back and I'm like, wow, that was a full-on addiction, maybe even a curse. It was me giving so much of my power away. And that's why I'm so excited to help you X your ex's energy if it is a toxic energy. Sometimes our exes have wonderful energy and we can choose, wow, they really help me heal myself and build my self-esteem. So hopefully we've given some little taste. Let's do one last somatic, energetic, and emotional clearing experience to close this up. So feeling into your shame right now. Again, maybe it's the same thing you picked before, but pick something where you feel shameful about it. Maybe, again, it could be money shame. It could be shame about something you did last night with your partner or a friend. Maybe you're constantly texting your friend and you're like trying to get the words right because you don't want to feel embarrassed about what you're going to say. So feel something that's shameful in your life. And again, what we're going to do is we're going to move around and strike a pose. So maybe your energy of shame is actually you pushing it away. Maybe you're like, I don't want to feel shameful. I'm going to use my YouTube channel as my shame because I was so proud of hitting almost 50K subscribers, and then a year or two ago, it just completely started losing, like out of nowhere, and it felt like I was being censored, and people started telling me you are being censored, and it was like, my throat, I can't breathe. So I want us to just play with like, what is the energy? And just go into the darkness. We're playing with shadow, we're playing with shame. Just feel the emotion, feel the energy as you're also neutral to it. If it's too much, just open your eyes. You can stop this exercise at any time and strike that pose, and then just pause and become neutral to it. Take in some deep breaths into it and just say, it's okay. It's okay to feel this way. It's just an experience. And then I want you to just take this pose and start to like soften it and maybe massage it into something more beautiful. So if you're feeling like, I'm stuck, you can, you're moving. Maybe you let out some sound. Ooh, and ask your higher self or just your wisdom, what would you like to feel instead? Movement, and you can say the word movement, flow, and then bring in the body movements that feel good with your words. Energy, connection, compassion. And you can just move through the space. And taking in some deep breaths, let's go ahead and do our love balls. We've got to cap up this video because it's getting a bit on the long side. But thank you for sticking together and clearing this toxic shame. Hopefully you've gotten some glimpses and some inspiration to keep on going in your relationships. That even when you hit a trigger, you want to go, no, you're doing it wrong, or I'm doing it wrong. I should run, or I should put a wall up. That you just identify that's happening, and then you have the power to shift it. Have those conversations of, I'm not enjoying this situation. I love you, and this is not working. And this is hard for me to say, and I'm grateful I have the ability to share with you. So keep those gratitudes, keep the positivity, as you also say, whoa, this ain't working. And you can lovingly start to identify too and speak them. I have a lot of anger coming up. I'm feeling it here. I love that we can have that. And sometimes we can get to that point with our partner where it's like, I have a lot of anger coming up and I want to shake it in my body, and I'm not going to direct it at you because I know that doesn't work. We can get neutral. All right, thank you so much for joining me today. Again, if you are ready to X out your ex's energy, you want a deep divine feminine space, this is for women. This is for women who are committed to improving their relationships and to stepping up as love leaders. Then DM me on Instagram. Let me know your top 1 to 3 reasons why you want to join the workshop. And it's happening on the 5th at 6:15 p.m. California time, 9:15 New York time on March 5th. All right, namaste. Have a nice day. I love you all the way. Bye.